Hello my friends, and welcome back to my channel for another tarot pick a card reading. So today's reading is going to be a little bit different, as I had one of my followers say that they would like a roast reading. This is that. So if you are feeling sensitive, this is not going to be the vibe for you right now. You need to be in a good solid state, know yourself, know your worth, know your value. Then watch this reading, okay? And I'm not going to be mean to you. I'm not going to belittle you. It's not going to be malicious, but this is all about constructive criticism, essentially, and corrective actions that you can take right now in your life. Now, this can be pertaining any situation, whether this is work, relationships, finances, literally anything is my goal here. So I really just want to give you a really straight on view of what you are dealing with and how you can kind of better evolve the situation through your own efforts, because truly one thing that I want to promote on this channel is your own willpower. Yes, you can come to these readings and hear your fate and whatnot, but at the end of the day, you are a co-creator of your own life along with the universe. So if you are working with the universe and instead of being forced into situations, you start them up yourself. That's such Aries Saturn thing for me to say, but it's true. Honestly, that is the fall of Saturn, but also something very important to learn about Saturn. So anyways, I'm getting into it already, but if you are ready to go, you can choose your pile. Now, if you need to know how to pick a card using your intuition, check out my video link down below, as always, on how to do that. Get you into a receptive mode, intuitive kind of place, so you can choose the pile that is meant for you. Now, that being said, we have our group 1, group 2, and group 3. I'll see you at your timestamp below. Alrighty, group 1, let's get started with your tarot pick a card reading, all about a little roast on you, some constructive criticism and corrective actions that can be taken right now in your life in this situation. So we have our tarot cards, as always, to give us more details on the situation, but also, as always, we have some other oracle cards to give us a frame of reference. I like to use these truly because context is everything. I'm a Virgo, it really truly matters. So let's get into it. Starting off, we have conjunction, which is empowerment energy. Funny how I made sure to, in the intro, talk about willpower being so important, because this is where you're at right now as well. Beautiful. All right. So for energy that you are currently in, and then energy where you're going is over here. I didn't even point over here. This is the energy you're currently in. This is where you're headed towards and what kind of the goal is here. So we have Saboteur, highlights your fear of self-empowerment and the changes it would bring to your life, and then induces self-destructive behaviors or desire to undermine others. And then we also have Seeker, thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are, inability to commit to a path once found. Okay, this is super intriguing to me, because like I said, willpower is coming out right away. You have a thirst, it says, for wisdom but in truth, but I don't think you see it like that. I feel like for you want resolution is what I want to say. And anytime I think of resolution, especially in the context of spiritual development and whatnot, resolution normally is to old bad problems in your life. And it says here, self-destructive behaviors or the desire to undermine others. You might be in this phase right now, actually, where you're shifting into a new level of being. And this is an important topic to talk about too, because there is a lot of people in this world that get very in this modern society, you really genuinely cannot say these people are lesser than me, or I'm above them, or they're above me, because obviously that is a hierarchy that we've worked hard to get away from. But in sense of energies, it's not so much lesser as in X, Y, and Z, all of whatever hierarchies we've had in the world, but more so in the sense of this energy, in terms of energy culmination, it makes me think of when we were in school and learning science, and how you learned about solids, liquids, and gas. You remember having to fill out little squares and putting the little atoms in them, and in a water or in air they're really spread out, and then in water, it's a little bit more together, but then a solid, it's like all super close and together. Like that imagery is coming up for a reason, because it's trying to explain, like I said, this sense of lesser, in the sense of like if you are becoming more solid, if you are trying to become someone that is more solid, there's going to be a shift in how things work. And I feel like the way that your mind is starting to evolve, you need different stimulation is the bottom line. Like the people that you're around, the work that you do, like you need to challenge yourself more, because I feel like that is what gets you out of these self-destructive habits. The more that you press on, the more that you seem to be able to press on and be able to find that resolution and to be able to come to solid conclusions and resolutions, like I was saying earlier, that you're trying to find about past pain, past hurt, the way that people self-destructed to you first, and then that became your coping mechanism. Those are types of things that I feel like you're really trying to branch out on right now. But you might have a hard time about taking on that process. You might still be kind of weeping in this sense of like, I was hurt by this, they were like that to me. But there's still part of you that was trying to find the truth. It also gives the sense of like abusive relationships. And maybe that's why I'm bringing up the lesser than thing, because I feel like a ton of times people that get caught in abusive relationships are people that genuinely don't see themselves as lesser or above anybody, or like anything like that. Like they're very like, we are equals, like I see you for you, like, but I should say that with such an awkward voice. There is such a nuanced understanding when it comes to like value in relationships and self-worth in relationships, and self-destruction is quite literally the opposite of that. Self-empowerment is kind of the answer to that, but it's a process. You have to go through some kind of destroying, I want to say like demolition of your values and spirit sometimes, in order to really come to terms with what is empowering for you and where you can find that. And I think that with this seeker energy coming out, that is what is being shown to you. It's not like, it's not about the people. It's not about the specifics. And I feel like there's a part of you that really wants to feel the love and like feel positive about things that have stirred negative feelings in you, but there's something about you that really has to expand that vision right now outside of your personal wants. And I know that's really annoying for you, because I feel like you've done that a lot. Like you've really expelled your energy in a way that like you're truly expecting a certain kind of reciprocity that you haven't gotten. And there's something that is very, like, you're thirsty for it. You're thirsty for, and like how I was saying, the air molecules being so separated and then the water is a little bit more together. Like with the thirst coming out so hard, I feel like you are trying to come together so hard, but you are really struggling to see your personal rite of passage, probably because you normally identify rite of passages through other people. And that's no shade to that route. You can do that and it will work out, but I feel like right now the pendulum is swinging the other way, and you're supposed to be focusing more on self-discovery and self-satisfaction, not in a selfish way, but like in a like soul satisfaction of like, I'm at the right place with the right people, being treated the right way. Oh wow, the emphasis in my voice right now, like that was not planned. I'm saying that with emphasis though for a reason. Spirit wants you to be aware that there's certain things you're undermining that are very important lessons right now. And it's not that you're undermining, like undermining is the word for it, because you are aware of them, but you are putting them off as like not important when they are literally the most important part of this whole journey. Not the detailed like areas where people could have, should have, would have. Like that's not empowerment. That's not saving yourself. And I feel like the universe wants you to save yourself. It's funny, yeah, how I was saying self-satisfaction, then we have the 9 of Cups come out. Like you need to be happy with the experiences as you've gone through them and as they've brought you to each new phase of your life. And maybe you are pretty well-rounded. Like I said, you've hung out with a lot of different people and have seen a lot of different walks of life. So, you know, like in this is funny because it's a very like 7th house Libra look, but like sometimes it's hard to make decisions on how you want to act with people because you see the beauty in all the different options. You see that there is promise in all different options. And I think right now you have a pretty good scope of like the different promise and different options, especially in one particular category, I want to say, because like I said, you have a thirst. So there's something that you like are very specifically trying to quench here. But you have a lot of information right now. I think you're just kind of ignoring it. Yeah, the Sun. And like, you just want to be happy. So it's not like you're not doing this maliciously. You're doing this habitually. You're doing this because you want to feel okay with what is in front of you. But there's part of you that is dissatisfied and doesn't always want to be all in about something. Like you get concerned that like it's the same thing. Yeah, we have the 8 of Swords coming out. And we have the 10 of Cups. See, this is what's interesting. One more. One more. Doesn't want to come out. Of course, it wasn't one more. It was 3 more. Guess we'll take them. Okay, we have the 6 of Cups, the 8 of Wands, and the Knight of Wands. So there is a lot. This is why it's interesting to me, because there's a lot of passion and desire and opportunity in your life. So why don't you feel like that? I'm going to be like, I gave you that moment for a moment, or for a reason, I should say, because this is something that you should sit with. You should really ask yourself, why are you somewhat insatiable when it comes to what you want out of life? Like, why is it that you always have to push on? It could be, it is, the anchor. Like, there's not an anchor, I should say. You know, we see someone going off in like a hot air balloon over here. There's no anchor to a hot air balloon, to say the least. So this person, you, I should say, and it's funny that I say this person because you might point fingers a lot at other people. I will just put that out there, especially with the 8 of Swords coming out with like the Sun and the 9 of Cups. Like, you can be very strong in your sense of self and really strong in your sense of like accomplishments and like, but it's like somebody that has a trophy rack that like feels nothing when they look at it. And that is a crazy dissociation from your life that you might have made because you're so go, go, go sometimes that you almost forget to like really settle in your feet and look into the wins that you're having and like feel into them. Like, let yourself be like, yes, this is who I am. It's kind of funny too, because today I had just like really, I don't know, it was just such a random like kind of corny thought, but I was just sitting there and I'm like, I'm a witch. Like, I live my life every day as a witch. And you know, like, that's the kind of spirit behind it that needs to become conscious here. Like, I think you need to decide maybe the same thing. Like, I'm living every day as a witch. Like, or I'm living every day as a person that is driving my own vehicle, essentially. And, like, is living, and not, maybe that's literal, but, like, and, like, you need to get a new car or something like that, or you need to buy your own car. Like, I don't know, that's a side note, but like, also like, this is you having your own established goal and route that you want to take based off of nothing else other than you're aware of what has already been, so you're not going after that again. You know, it's like, again, the trophy shelf. If you're looking at all the different wins that you've had, like, trophy shelf's kind of obnoxious if it's just it's making me think of SpongeBob when he's like manager. like, or employee of the, oh no, the employee of the month award, and he has like just a whole plaque of like all him, or like on Monsters Inc, like Sully, the same thing, like it's all the same person. Like maybe that is how your life is right now. Like I said, you could have really like had a thirst for one area, and like now you have so many trophies in that area, but it's like, okay, like when I see that, I see somebody that like, yes, they have mastery in an area, I suppose, but they also might not want to challenge themselves and go into a different direction that like might challenge them a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like they don't, you're like, you could be afraid essentially of going into a different, like taking a different path. You know, you're so well accomplished, it's really hard to like, but that's the, okay, that's what I want to say is you're so well accomplished, it's really hard to feel like you're accomplished, if that makes sense. So there's something you have to do where it's like go back to start and become more, yeah, like especially with the Six of Cups here, it's like revisiting a feeling. And because you're already successful, it's like you need to go back to basics a little bit, into what got you started in something in the first place, and feeling happy about those little things that were once enough, you know, that got the ball rolling. And I think that's a more pure, innocent approach to the situation. And with the Eight of Wands, I mean, I feel like that's where things start moving for you. Knight of Wands as well. Like that's a double whammy, especially because these cards came out together. It's like revisiting past feelings for the beauty of them. Like this could be even creating art to like kind of process things too, or like, you know, if you find yourself in a really artsy mode, like this is a good sign that you are figuring out some emotions in you. Like I always correlate those together, and it seems to like correlate together. So, you know, don't feel like give yourself time. Don't feel like too bothered to move on so quickly, you know. And that's, I say bothered to move on quickly because why else do people move on quickly? Why else do people jump to the next action? Like your spirit is bothered, whether it knows it needs to do something or X, Y, and Z, but like there's some kind of coaching you need to do with yourself where it's like learning to control your energy and keep it within itself instead of expending it out onto these trophies and onto these feats and onto this win feeling, because the essence of it is getting lost. And I feel like you feel that and are wary of that because you know that that means burnout, you know that that means self-destruction, you know that means not moving forward. But the best way to move forward sometimes is sitting exactly where you are and being very aware of it, not only in like the sense of like what you're currently dealing with, but what you have already dealt with and where it's already taken you. And like there's a lot of things that you've already done that have taken you quite far. So yeah, maybe you need a moment to rest. Maybe you need a moment down on the ground to remember things from a different point of view, because right now you're kind of up in the sky. You're not allowing yourself to feel grounded in your life, that disassociation that I was talking about. So what you're moving into with the Seeker is going by things on foot and being grounded every step of the way, you know, instead of taking it all in for its big old vibe and big old win and victory. It's looking at it for the details. Every little grain of sand, it's like you're paying attention to, is kind of what I want to say with that energy. So every little grain of sand that you have come across, you know, and sand, it's funny because that is like sedimentary rock that's really, really broke down, like eroded, and it's like tiny little pieces. So yeah, I don't know. It's like finally being able to see the little pieces that have come together to make you in the position that you're in, so that you feel a little bit more called to things on a personal level rather than on an expose level, you know, like where you're trying to like flash a new win, another feat that you've already feated, you know, like it's very redundant at a certain point is what Spirit is trying to tell you. And that redundance creates that dissatisfaction because it's telling you to push on, do something else, focus on something else from a different point of view. But yeah, so group 1, I hope this message helped you guys out and resonated for you. And if it did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. And of course, subscribe to my channel for more intuitively channeled messages. If you'd like to book a personal reading with me, check out the link below as always to my website. You can also check out my Instagram and Twitter and whatnot over there. So, but yeah, I'm gonna skedaddle and I will see you guys in a later reading. Peace. Hey group 2, we're going to get started with your tarot pick a card reading today. All about some constructive criticism, if you will, and corrective action that you can take right now on this current situation. So no matter what it is, we're going to dive into it. As always, we have our tarot cards for more information, more details, but also as always, we have our oracle cards to give us a frame of reference. So starting off with, this is our overall dealio that we're dealing with. So we have Neptune coming out, so that's dreams. And then we have the energy that you are currently in, which is mediator. Gift for negotiating fairness and strategy in life, or in personal and professional life, respect for both sides of an argument. Also negotiating with an ulterior motive or hidden agenda, either personally or professionally. And you are moving into child orphan energy. Independence based on learning to go at it alone, conquering fear of surviving. Feelings of abandonment that stifle maturation, seeking inappropriate surrogate families. So right away, this is interesting because this is wanting you to face your sort of like a victim mentality. And don't click off this video just yet. I know that's, I know everyone hates to hear that, especially if you're someone that isn't. It's funny because like I feel like you see yourself independently, and it's not that you aren't independent, but there is a part of you that is very much thinking that you have to use others to get what you want. And again, in society, we are very much like, we hear that and we're like, oh, you're a horrible person. But like, it's coping mechanisms, people. Everybody learns things from how they were able to get their needs met from their caretakers. And if that doesn't explain literally everything to you, I don't know what will, because that, it says a lot. And I think you have been this person that has always had to go at it alone. You know, you might have had a lot of hard moments in your life that you felt were completely not supported by other people. And here's the thing, with mediator coming out as your current energy, I feel like that has made you someone that is very much like a mediator, you know, someone that now not walks on eggshells necessarily, but kind of does, like sort of has this mode of operation where you're very aware of what other people want from you. You're very aware of what you can give to them in order to get maybe what you want back. And I say maybe because that's maybe not how it always works out. And there's something for you in that, you know, that when it doesn't work out, why it doesn't work out, where you're coming from in that moment. It says here, negotiating with ulterior motives and hidden agendas, either personally or professionally. So this might be a common theme in both arenas of your life, whether it's, you know, interpersonal relationships or business relationships. You might work through other people in order to find success, in order to find the answers to what you seek, instead of like fully maybe admitting to yourself that this is what I want, this is a goal of mine, for whatever silly reason. And I feel like I say every silly reason because I feel like you might feel embarrassed for some reason, and like that's the victim mentality in your situation. Like you might feel overly embarrassed about having your own goals and dreams, and like just in that it holds you back from being able to really like exhibit some sort of behavior. This is interesting. This is just coming up too, that like maybe when you drink or like do substances or like smoke weed or like I don't know, just like anything like that, like you might find this nature popping out of you more. And it might show its face in different lights. You know, maybe sometimes when you drink, you become really codependent or like needy or something like that. But then on the other side, it might thwart you into like this hyper independence where you're like, oh, I never needed anyone for anything ever. Like I can assert myself. I can do whatever. So that is kind of a theme here. I would look at substances and, like I said, that kind of thing as being something that could actually provide some wisdom on the topic, some awareness. Obviously, I'm not telling you to go do that stuff and whatever, like, you can live your own life, and I'm sure at this point you already have, and so you have this awareness, so that's why I'm bringing it up in the first place. But it just feels like there is so much that, like I said, randomly does come to the surface for you, and that is trying to tell you, detach. Don't connect yourself to, or like, don't feel like, just because you know that this energy that you want or desire is connected to other people does not mean that you need to focus on getting people on board with it in order for it to work out. And I think that's a big thing here. It's like, something about your energy and the pureness of it can really change the outcome of situations. Because if you are coming from this really, like, I want to call it low vibrational, like, needy energy, and that's not to shade it. We all go through those highs and lows and whatnot, and you might actually find that maybe some things trigger it. Maybe it is, you know, smoking weed or drinking that triggers this sort of feeling in you. So again, be cautious of it and be aware of it, because it's helping you understand your baseline and, you know, what you can do to kind of help that baseline and move it in a different direction. And I feel like right now you're feeling a little unbalanced and unaligned with certain things, and that again could be coming to the forefront for you, but you might just be really scared to admit that that is your truth right now. Why are you so scared, though? I mean, I say that, okay, that's so diminishing of, like, everything you've been through. I'm so sorry I said that. But, like, no, but, like, why are you scared, truly? Like, ask yourself, why are you scared? Because I think you are not looking at the full picture of what you're capable of. Because we have the Knight of Wands here and then the Eight of Cups. So I feel like you are really being called into action in a lot of different areas of life that you know are right for you. You know that those areas are better suited for you, but it's really hard for you to leave a situation when it's not completely fallen apart. With the Queen of Swords as well coming out. I feel like, it's funny, my stomach is like crazy rumbling right now. I feel like you do have sort of a hunger, which is funny because group 1 was more of a thirst. This is a hunger though. So this is like things are manifesting for you. And they're right there. But you want, like, you're craving something so solid right now. And your intuition is pushing you in this solid direction. And I feel like you are the most solid person. Like I said, that's why the universe is trying to deter you from relying on other people to get what you want. Even if it feels super interpersonal. Like, if you're looking for, like, a job, like, you need other people for a job, you know what I mean? Like, versus, or like even a relationship, like if you want to be loved, you need other people to be loved. But so it feels really hard and complex to understand why being solo focused helps with that. But for some reason that is, like I said, providing you with more alignment and clarity on your own energy, which changes how, it's like changes the dial is what I want to say. What does that mean? Let's get more. Let's get more. Six of Pentacles. The Moon. Let's get one more. Three of Cups. Yeah, that's so funny. And the Four of Wands on the back of the deck, that's so funny. King of Pentacles. Okay, hold on. So, I'm kind of gushing a little bit for you guys. Because like I said, like it's time to spin the dial. It's time to change where you are, like, the capacity in which you're pouring into things. And I feel like your capacities are changing right now for the better, actually. You're already kind of in that space where you know, like, you know, you came to this reading because you know that there are things that you've been working on, and this is more so validation that, like, correct. Like, this is the corrective action that you need to take. And I feel like with this Six of Pentacles coming out here, this is putting you into a mode of receiving. I'm seeing you as being the one that's being offered very generously different things right now. And instead of maybe like taking that and like seeing what you can do with it like you would have done in the past, and like really like almost like like a rat finding like cheese, like just running off with it and be like, okay, like we gotta make this last for however long. Like instead of that mentality, it's way more of like a equal give and take, and like you are equally giving in certain areas where I feel like you felt embarrassed to give. Maybe, you know, like you it's making me think of like somebody that like never really wanted to like go out and splurge on things because they just didn't feel like they had the money for it. And like there's something about you that finally learned like, oh, if I act like I have money, not like in a stupid way, but like in a the money that I have is okay to be spent way, because I will get some back kind of way. Like I don't know how to explain that. It's more of like if you know you know kind of thing, because when you put it out in just like simple terms, like people can misunderstand that and think like, oh, I can just manifest money, whatever. But like, no, once again, it's alignment. It's feeling and believing and aligning yourself. There's a whole process to it. And like, you are not someone that's new to that, you know that. But like I said, you've always worked on that in a very interpersonal way and focused on other people type way, and focusing on getting them involved and getting them motivated and getting them in the fantasy. Like this is you taking your own fantasy for its own wild ride, you know, like by yourself doing your own thing, which eventually starts creating it, because it's like you're already acting in it, you know what I mean? Like it's like if you're acting broke, you're gonna bring broke, you know, like if you act rich, you bring like volume, I want to say too. So if you're trying to build volume in any arena of life, whether it's suitors or, you know, business opportunities, like this is saying guide your own, like steer your own ship, guide your own path. And yes, while you might run into things in those waters with the moon here, I feel like those people that you might find in those moments could be actually just helpful in clarifying for you. They could bring you some sort of solution to problems. You know, if with the Eight of Cups kind of starting us out over on this side of the reading, and what we're working into being the Three of Cups over here, you are working out your anxieties when it comes to sharing yourself with the world, and doing so in a way where it's not like you're trying to create, you know, these inappropriate surrogate families to stifle your maturation, you know, like where you're trying to like ride the coattails of another person. Like you're not, that's not where you're at. And it's funny because I feel like you are already aware of this. Like you might have already had a talk with yourself where you realize that like that was a thing that you did. Like you really were just kind of riding other people's coattails and trying to be what they like, not what they wanted, but like what, I don't know. It's like, here's the thing. It's like if you haven't set time and energy or given time and energy to like developing your own goals and aspirations, when you see someone with goals and aspirations, because that's something repressed in you, you're going to be like, oh my God, yeah, that sounds great. Especially if they align with you, if you find people that are really like, they like the things that you like and whatnot. This is saying almost like you can like ride the coattails essentially and be like, oh yeah, like, but because you feel the same way about things, like you're like, oh, this is exactly what I'm doing, and you ride the coattails, but that's not yours, you know, like it's, yes, it's like a sign for you that like, yes, you're aligning, but you have to individualize it and make it more of your own and make it more of your own quality, you know, and that will have its own nuances. That will look different. That might be scary to you because maybe you can't impersonate this energy perfectly, but you're not supposed to impersonate it. You're supposed to be yourself. And I think that is what you are afraid of. You're nervous to be seen, and that's okay, but it's not something that you should use as a complete roadblock. Evaluate it, but move forward, you know, because there is connection on the other side of that. There is opportunities on the other side of that. It isn't even like you have to be on the other side of that to get that. You can still be anxious and nervous and not feel like you fit the part 100% and still get the opportunity. And I think that is a big thing with alignment that people will come to learn, and you will come to learn, is that you will learn, you will grow, you will change, you will accommodate and get accustomed to new energy. So it's not like you have to be perfect from the get-go. Even though honestly, I feel like you kind of are. Like, you are the perfect person for whatever you kind of set out for. And that is kind of the blessing in this quality that you've had, that where you are very like interchangeable and like tried to mold to your environment. So again, like, this is just being very aware of that power, but not for its negative, drowning qualities, more so for its positive, going crazy, like doing the thing qualities, you know, like it really, you're living out your fantasies. You've lived out your fantasies so many times. So why don't you trust that ability on your own? You know, it's basically just changing the root of it, because you've helped other people manifest reality. So focus on yourself, focus on your reality and what you can manifest out of that. Because I feel like you will see all of these people that, you know, maybe have once fallen off from your life, or all of these opportunities, like faded dreams sort of thing, coming back into your life and having, you know, more definition to them this time, more you have, because you have more, you've like tightened your lens and you see clearer now what it is that you're dealing with and how to go about it. And I feel like you're going to be pretty pleased with what you see. Like I said, it won't not be scary. It will be scary, but it's not, that shouldn't deter you. You know, fear is actually a very good motivator when you realize what's on the other side of it. And the more that you kind of show yourself, the more that you show yourself the momentum that's on the other side of it, and like just how good things work, the more it's like it's confirmation. You know, it creates a confirmation bias in you, where you start to feel less afraid about things and more capable of going after your dreams, because you've seen them manifest and you've proven to yourself. I actually would recommend to you guys to get a magic book where you write in only things that you have ever manifested, or even just write down a list of all the things that you have actually correctly manifested how you wanted them to, and then really evaluate the states that you were in for those moments, because I guarantee it's going to align with this message and with how you have aligned in situations and where your directives kind of lied. So yeah, group 2, I hope this message helped you guys. That is it for your reading. If you like this reading, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, and of course subscribe to my channel for more intuitively channeled messages like this one. If you would like to book a reading with me, I do offer that below. Linked in my website is down below, I should say. But yeah, otherwise I'm gonna skedaddle, and I'll see you guys in a later video. Peace. Hey group 3, let's get started with your tarot pick a card reading today, all about some constructive criticism and corrective action that you can take on your current situation. So this will be a little bit of a roast, but not without love, I will say. So we're gonna dive into this for you guys, whatever the situation may be. Now, of course, as always, I was trying to say, Mercury retrograde still going on, but we have our tarot cards here for more details later on, but we do have our oracle cards here to set a frame of reference for what is happening here. So overall energy is Venus. We have the card of love here. And then we have the energy of Father is the energy you're currently acting in, which says talent for creating and supporting life, positive guiding light within a tribal unit, and then dictatorial control, abuse of authority. And then we have Mentor coming out for the energy you're headed into, which is passing on wisdom and refining a student's character, inability to allow the student to move on to the role of the master, imparting false instruction. Okay. So this is interesting right off the bat, because with Venus energy overall, it feels like you are in this vibe of trying to come to terms with balance and equality. You know, that is truly love in its finest asset, I would say. Like with its finest asset is this sense of feeling seen and heard and understood, you know? So that's the balance and equality. It's balancing out the different temperaments. It's letting people have their say. It's letting people do things their own way. And this is interesting because with father energy coming out for the energy that you're moving away from, essentially, dictatorial control and abuse of authority, and just the father energy, this is very masculine. Like, this is the energy, which is funny because it's not like you're moving away from masculine energy, but it's redirecting that to be more of someone that is in balance with the fact that other people have their lives. Sometimes that is not the easiest thing to understand and come to terms with, in the sense of like, if you want love, you want that, like I said, appreciation, the seenness. And sometimes when you're low, you might expect that from people, and you might have this expectation that you deserve appreciation always and expect this sort of whatever always, you know, like it's going to be different for each person, the expectation, I will say, but there is this desire to kind of be in control of what the affections are like in a relationship. And this is interesting that this is saying it like relationship week, because this can also be with money too. Like you can find yourself being very strict and in control and trying to be in control and strict when it comes to that, but maybe having a hard time with it. And maybe that is because of this dictatorial control. Maybe it's because you're trying so hard to have a say on so many different things that you're not allowing natural, free-flowing, I want to say like optimism to come into play. So that's interesting. Maybe, you know, this does give like the lack mindset of like, I need more, I don't have enough, and I feel like this is like guiding you to realize that that lack mentality, like it's a mentality, I should say. Like it's not you, it's not the truth. It's just a feeling. It's just a habitual feeling you might have at times when you don't have the control in the situation. Once again, focusing on control and making sure that you're not controlling the situation. Why are you trying to control the situation? Why are you trying to control other people? Control yourself is the first thing here, is make sure that you are following your own guiding light when it comes to like supporting yourself and supporting, you know, what you want to happen. So like if you are really desiring this feeling of adoration, you know, put yourself in that position, and not in the way where you're like fishing for compliments, but in the sense of like, you know, do something nice for someone, or like, and that, again, that was almost manipulative in the sense, because it's like you're expecting that, but like I feel like you should adore yourself first, you know, find ways to make yourself feel like beautiful and worthy, and you know, is whatever. And honestly, with this being such masculine energy come out, there might be quite a few men that watch this reading, and so that's why I'm trying to like watch my words, because I'm normally so girly coded, I'm like saying things in that regard. But like for both genders, I want to say like there's a part of you that really wants to protect and nurture a sense of love, and it's very difficult for you to do that. And not even just love, like love and value, and like that is money as well. Like you really want to feel like you are providing and protecting that arena in life. And when things do not happen in the way that you want them to happen, you get very particular about things, and like I said, have expectations and whatnot, and might try to push the envelope a little bit, which kind of prematurely sets, you know, everyone up for failure. I feel like you have to let things blossom how they want to blossom. You know, it makes me think of like planting a seed, and like, I don't know, like getting a packet of like wildflower seeds, for example. Like you don't know what you're going to get if there's a variety in the pack. And even when sometimes you can buy seeds and a whole different plant comes out because somebody messed up along the way. You know what I mean? Like basically like what I'm trying to say, metaphorically speaking, after all, because that was, I should say, that was metaphorically speaking. What I'm trying to say is that there is a lot of potential for you to develop things, but you have to have I have to have less rigidity when it comes to how they develop and how they show their appreciation and how they show their colors back to you. Yeah, temperance. It's funny because we were talking about balance. Like, temperance is all about balance and finding this higher perspective about, you know, connection, and not being so overwhelmed by the fact that, like, there are differences. There are things that don't pan out exactly how you want them to, but nevertheless, there's tweaking work that could be done. You can find a way to contort a situation, and that's something that you have, like, a lot of power and control in. You know how to make things work in your favor. Like I said, like, there's something here where you are very good at finding that praise when you want it, but there is something here about, like, not relying so much on other people, because I think on an emotional level you might have a hard time letting people and things show you their love and affection the way that they do, in their unique ways. And, like, and that's the thing, is just as much as you are stuck in your ways, I want to say so is everybody else, you know? So, like, you're not willing to change your way of going about it, so why are you expecting everyone else to, you know? Like, you have to have that equal give and take, and that is that equal give and take. You know, this is an already functioning system. You know, whatever this is, it's already a functioning system. If it's a person, a place, a thing, it doesn't matter. It's already a functioning system on its own. I want to reinforce, so you have to let it be what it is. And like it says here, like, you're moving into a phase where you should be passing on wisdom and refining a student's character. You shouldn't be, you know, focusing on the fact of, like, maybe they're passing me, maybe they're this, maybe they're that, like, maybe they're forgetting about me. Like, there's jumping to conclusions on your end that need to be halted, because that is not helping you help, if that makes sense. Like, if you want to be a helpful character in someone's life, that is often times a way that you can get a lot of respect and adoration and mutual regard. I find, especially with adult relationships, like, if you want to be involved in someone's life, like, you have to want to sit around them when they're folding their laundry. You know what I mean? Like, you have to find ways to mix in each other's lives. And, like, me personally, like, I work with a bunch of my friends. Like, that's how I make time for my friends. I make sure that they are in my daily life. And I feel like that is kind of what I'm saying here for you, with, like, use your own wisdom on how to, like, protect and provide in a situation, and do that. And, you know, have your cake and eat it too in that situation. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like you get really, like, you get in your head for some reason about it. We have the Hermit coming out, and the 7 of Wands, and the Page of Pentacles. I will say, this is the one reading, like, that I feel very affected by Mercury retrograde, so you might have like 3rd house, 6th house placements, Mercury, Gemini placements, a prominent Mercury in your chart, whatever that may be. If you know any of your astrology, if you don't, whatever. But I'm just noticing this, though, as just being a very trying time for you, because you have built a lot. You know, you have a lot of connections, you have a lot of resources, you have a lot of stability in your life, but it's just hard for you at times to do what you have to do on a daily basis by yourself. Like, and you might, like I said, you might want the praise, you might want the help, you might want the support, but you might have to be changing into the role of the person that is that in order to get it, if that makes sense. Like I was saying with me, like, working at jobs with my friends, like, just by proving myself as a useful resource, like, it's just, like, opened up more depth to the connection. And I think that's just kind of a funny byproduct, I suppose, of that. But, like, I don't know, I feel like instead of seeking things from other people and seeking for them to make you proud, you know, you should be a role model for them and kind of stand by their side while they make you proud. Like, it's in that can be a shared sort of feeling. But it's going to take, like, that reflection period, I feel like, where you do seek to help, and you do seek to be resourceful, and like doing it without some sort of payoff, just seeing it as a nice thing to offer because you already have an overflowing cup. You know what I mean? Like, I always find the people that are really like socially involved and really enjoy this like connectivity with people as being people that do have overflowing cups and like do need to find, whether it be creative outlets, you know, maybe you are a crafty person and like to build things, you know, like you can do that on your off time when you're not with people, and then offer that to people and be like, oh, look what I made you. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of a vibe that I'm getting here. Like, there's just something here, and like, okay, if you're doing something that effort filled for someone, like, they will be appreciative of you. You will get that feeling, and you'll probably get even more of those feelings after you've done that reflection period and time spent doing some sort of craft. And it's funny that I brought that up because this is so craft energy with the Hermit and the Eight of Pentacles and even the Ace of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles. Like, this is craft energy. So focusing and honing in on your craft, and maybe part of your craft is to be able to teach other people. Maybe that is a huge thing in your life right now, is trying to teach other people and become the teacher. But you have to accept that role by knowing what you have to offer. And sometimes you are not always aware of that, I want to say. I think sometimes you can get really focused on being like this positive guiding light for people that you don't always see like how that guiding light is helping you by like being nice to people, being friendly, wanting to talk to people and enjoy their presence. Like, that might feel like a burden to you at sometimes. But it's not a burden. It doesn't have to be a burden. Just relocate that energy. It's giving feng shui. It's giving like move it around. Tweak it. Like I said earlier, like just work on it a little bit. It's not like it's like the end of the world. And I feel like you're going to find a lot more stability and balance in sort of like solitude and finding peace in your solitude. And that's what makes you extend out in connections. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I said crafts. It's like if you're sitting there building I don't know, like tables, or you make like paintings or something like that, like just doing something like that on your free time, and then all of a sudden you offer them up and people are like, oh yeah, that's great, like you should really actually want like 8 more of those, you know, like you're gonna feel that pull, and then all of a sudden, you know, it is gonna become another thing where you're like, wow, I'm really providing for people. I feel like I'm protecting this sort of like value that I feel I need to be appreciated for, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, that is that mentor energy again, like having to find a way to help yourself like feel the greater cause of yourself, if that makes sense. Like, that can be something that you struggle with at times, and it's not always easy for you to see your helpfulness and your usefulness. So maybe doing more things that like actively make you feel that energy, and like physically, like in your body sensations, that could help with a lot of different things. I feel like that could also neutralize a lot of different areas of life where you feel more defensive and where you feel kind of caught up in the everyday grind of things. Like, you might feel very just bothered, I feel like. And maybe I was gonna say objectified, so that however that resonates. And that, you know, it's funny that I say objectify because it makes me think of like the inanimate object of it all, and Venus energy relating to Libra. That's my train of thought. Anyways, so that is that thing of like, because you can be so useful to people, sometimes you feel like you're not a person in yourself, like you detach from the personal parts of that. But that's where that inward seeking goes. And maybe this is why Spirit is asking you to hone in on your craft, because there is a lot of direction that is found in your craft. And it's pointing you in the direction of like creating some sort of like positive atmosphere for the people around you, and making them feel like they have opportunities, that maybe they could do something like that. Maybe they'd want to do that with you. You know what I mean? Like, you're opening up the door to more connection and to more, like, balance and harmony is what I was trying to say. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like you're not that far away from it. If anything, it's right there in front of you. It's just about kind of relocating your energy, like I said, shaking things up a little bit and like not letting it weigh you down. Just let it like move past you and move on in a way where you're allowing other things to grow and other things to move on the way that they need to as well. You know, it makes me feel like things will, you know, part ways at times and come back together, and that might be a commonality in your life when it comes to maybe business deals and relationships and finances, and like that could have always bothered you, but now you kind of see what you've accomplished in those times apart, that you're like, oh, like this made me this made us more interesting when things came back together, you know what I mean? So this made things more interesting. It's fun. It helps you realize, like I said, like a new excitement about a situation, a new pleasure to be found, if you will. So yeah, group 3, I hope this message resonated for you guys, and if it did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, and of course subscribe to my channel for more intuitively channeled messages like this. If you want to book a reading with me, make sure you check out my link below to my website. But yeah, otherwise I'm gonna skedaddle, and I'll see you guys in a later reading. Peace.